I know it's time for the No Half Step in Hockey coverage, so let's get to the goods. It's time for operation number 704. Show number 704 for the Renegades of Puck. And at this moment in hockey history, the Nashville Predators currently find themselves in 6th place in the Central Division. After 43 games played, they have a record of 20-17-6. 46 points has them 1 point behind 4th place and 5th place, Colorado and St. Louis. They have a record of 10-7-3 on home ice. They have 120 goals for, 127 goals against, and that's a goal differential of -7. Before we move on to the next game, let's recap the Central Division current standings. Winnipeg and Dallas are tied for first place. Winnipeg holds the tiebreaker due to games played at this point. They both have 59 points. Minnesota is in 3rd place in the Central Division at 52 points, and you'll find Colorado and St. Louis at 47, Nashville at 46 in 6th place. Arizona is in 7th, and Chicago is in last place in 8th with just 26 points. The automatic cutoff line for a playoff qualifying spot is 3rd in the Central. The Nashville Predators are currently 6 points behind that spot. Now, for the Preds, once they wrap up this next game against Columbus Blue Jackets, 1-game road trip Thursday in St. Louis, back home then until the All-Star break, Saturday versus LA, the 24th versus Winnipeg, the 26th versus New Jersey, and then not another game until February the 7th after the All-Star break, and that will be against Las Vegas. Now, the season series between the Nashville Predators and the Columbus Blue Jackets, they go back to October the 20th when the Preds fell in Columbus 5-3. It was Johnny Gaudreau with 2 goals in that game. Blankenberg, goal and assist for 2 points. Jeannot and Johansson and Trennan were the goal scorers for the Nashville Predators, and Lankinen took the loss, going 37 out of 41. Now, these two teams should have already concluded their regular season series, but they were unable to do so on 11/29 due to a water main break in downtown Nashville, which postponed all games at Bridgestone Arena. So this is a makeup of that particular game. Will be the final regular season meeting between the former Central Division rivals. Now, let's talk about those Columbus Blue Jackets for just a moment. 13-28-2. It has not been a very good season for Columbus. 28 points, has them 8th overall in the Metro. That is last place on the road. 3-14-1 and a -60 goal differential on the season. Let's take a look at just the most recent stretch of action, but I think you know how the story is going to go. Back on the 8th of January, it was a 1-0 loss at the Washington Capitals. On the 10th, it was a 6-3 loss at the Tampa Bay Lightning. Then on the 12th, a 6-2 loss versus Carolina. The only bright spot for the Columbus Blue Jackets in this conversation. And on the 14th, it was a 4-3 victory at the Detroit Red Wings. And most recently, or just a couple of hours ago, it was a 3-1 loss versus the New York Rangers. Elvis Merzlikins got the start, took the loss in net for Columbus, going 30 out of 33. So Nashville coming off a back-to-back at home. Columbus having to travel into Nashville after having a back-to-back at home against the New York Rangers. So let's take a look inside the rankings between these two teams and the matchup. And it's not going to be a very pretty picture that we're going to paint right here. The Nashville Predators lead in goals for 2.74 per game. Is 27th in this particular matchup. It's one of the only times the Nashville Predators are going to lead in this statistical metric. 30th overall in the league is where the Columbus Blue Jackets find themselves in the goals for category. Only 2.53 per game in goals against. The Preds are ahead in this metric as well. 2.93 given up per game is 14th best in the NHL, while 3.93 given up per game is 31st in the NHL. Not quite last, but next to last. In the shots for category, shots on net per game, the Nashville Predators are 19th in the league, generating 31.2 shots on net per game, while Columbus only getting 28.6 shots through to the net per game is 29th overall in the NHL. Shots against these two teams very close, but not in a good way. 34.3 against Nashville per game is 30th in the NHL, while Columbus is giving up 35.3 shots against per game. That is 31st overall in the NHL. What are you doing to your netminders? When it comes to the special teams, again, not very attractive when it comes to these statistical metrics. The Preds are converting at 16.7% on the power play. That's 28th overall in the NHL. The raw data on that is 24 out of 144 opportunities. The Columbus Blue Jackets power play is 14.8%. That's 32nd in the NHL. That is the last spot overall in the league. 17 out of 115 opportunities. Only 17 power play goals on the season. For the penalty kill, it is the Nashville Predators again leading in this statistical metric. 14th best in the NHL. 31 power play goals against, and that is a kill rate of 79.6%, while Columbus has a kill rate of 76.2%, 18th best in the NHL. They've given up 34 power play goals against. Nothing you can really point to on the Columbus Blue Jackets side of the ledger is incredibly attractive, except for maybe the statistics of Johnny Gaudreau, leading the team in scoring, leading in goals, and leading assists. He's actually tied for the team lead in goals with Patrick Laine. 12 goals, 29 assists for 41 points, then a massive drop-off after that by 18 points between first and second in overall scoring. Roslovic, 3 goals and 20 assists for 23 points. Patrick Laine at 12 goals and 10 assists for 22 points. Boomjenner, 11 and 11 for 22, and Johnson, 8 and 11 for 19. Jonas Korpisalo expected to get the start in the second night of back-to-backs, 6-8-1 on the year. 908 save percentage is actually not that bad considering the rest of the numbers. 3.28 goals against average. Now, take a look at the Nashville Predators individual statistic. Philip Forsberg leads the team in total goals with 18 at 20 assists at 38 points. Also, is first overall in the Nashville Predators. The captain, Roman Josi, has 12 goals and 23 assists for 35 points. His 23 assists are number 1 overall in that category on the Preds. Matt Duchene just behind him with 22 at 11 goals to that for Matt Duchene. He has 33 points on the season. Kyle Granlund's at 4 and 21 for 25. Nino Niederreiter, 13 goals, 10 assists, 23 points. UC Saros, after his most recent game, updated stats, 16, 12, and 5. A 9.21 save percentage, a 2.68 goals against average. Lankinen expected to get the start against Korpisalo on the second night of back-to-backs. A 4-4-1 record, 9.18 save percentage, 2.81 goals against average. And good to see him back in the lineup and healthy after having to miss his last opportunity to start a game with an illness just last week. That gets you all set up for the Nashville Predators and the Columbus Blue Jackets. It's a 6th-place team versus an 8th-place team, but the Nashville Predators desperately need to come away with the points in this one. The standings in the Central Division are simply too close to allow these 2 points to slip away.